All right, good evening. So welcome to the Oceanside Library, Poets Near and Afar. We're happy to be back here today. We have Rick, who's joining us from Missouri, and we have our own Nassau County Poet Laureate, Evelyn Kandel. So it should be a fun night. I want to thank everybody for treating the guest hosts so well last week. I appreciate that very much. And without any further ado, we're going to get started. Before we do, I just want to remind anybody, if you do not want to be in the open mic, please put it in the chat. Otherwise, I will assume that you do want to be part of it. I have two people already who have said that they do not, but otherwise we will. And so joining us from, yeah, that's fine, Ro. That's what I said. As long as it's not epic length, that's fine. So without any further ado, coming to us from Middle America, Rick Christiansen.
Okay, thank you so much, Tony. Great to be here. I'm going to read mostly new stuff tonight, although those of you that have, I see a lot of faces I've been seeing over the last few days, and I've been had a run of readings lately. So some of you are going to hear poems that you've heard once or twice or three times in the last couple of weeks, because I'm not Judy, and when I do roulette, I usually get shot. So, but there are some new ones tonight, and I have. Well, I'll walk you guys through it as I go. I'm trying to do a couple of new things tonight that, and there's a different theme to it. The theme to begin with, I think a lot of poets right now, we have war on our minds because there's just so damn much war out there. And so I'm going to start out tonight by reading two fairly short poems about war. This first one, I actually wrote a couple of months ago after reading a story about Russian airplanes, bombs, and missiles hitting apartment buildings in Damascus, Syria, full of civilians, full of women and children who cannot get away. And but now we have Russian missiles and bombs falling on Ukrainian apartment houses and shopping centers and everything else full of civilians, women and children who cannot get away. And so unfortunately, this poem is still appropriate and apropos today, and I hope the day comes that I won't be able to read it anymore because people will just look at me and go, "What's that about?" It is called "The Gods Are Too Loud." It begins with an epigraph. In his hands, Hercules took his shield, all glittering. In the center and upon the shield, Proaxis, pursuit, and Homados, tumult, were wrought. Hesiod, the shield of Hercules. The gods are too loud, and I cannot hear them. They wail from my pipes and screech from my ductwork. I am trapped by the sound into deafness left to worship Homados. Noise speaks danger, crouching beneath whistling metal, bursting silence. Thank you. This next one I wrote, I guess about a week ago, a little over a week ago. The story from Ukraine that has resonated the most deeply with me for a lot of different reasons is a story of a young 26-year-old woman who had the opportunity to flee. She had an opportunity to get out of the country. She chose to stay because she felt that it was her duty to stay and to participate in appropriate ways, not a soldier, but there to help. And she was delivering pet food to dog shelters that had taken in animals that were displaced by the war. And she and two other people, as they were leaving this one shelter, were shot to death in a car by the Russians. And so I wrote this about her. And it is, it's a form poem. It's a terza rima, for those of you that know that what that is. It's a poem in tercets, and it has a rhyme scheme. And I won't bore you with the details of that. just the poem. But look it up if you don't know. It's a fun form, and it's Dante and Dante's Inferno wrote Terza Rima, and a lot of other people. It's called Walking on the Air. Do one thing every day that scares you, her grandfather taught her as she was built. So she refused to leave as bullets flew. Purpose in her fear, facing what is dealt from Russian guns and tanks on each corner, running toward the needs that others felt. Only 26, walking on the air, certain purpose shielding every step as she smells the smoke, tests what she can bear. She felt immortal, living without debt, but war takes the immortal ones from us and leaves us nothing but a twisted wreck. Walking on the air, Ukrainian thus, taking food to displaced pets in shelter, hoping the laws of war were porous. Only 26, walking on the air, she thought that being right would be enough, her leader's words enough to take the dare. Now grandfather weeps, knowing she was tough. Okay, and now one on a little different topic, and this one is based on an experience I had many, many, many years ago. And I wanted to read it now after the two war poems because it's such a counterpoint to war, because we could avoid war if we could do a better job of communicating. And this is a poem about communication. And it's called We Both Like Oranges. It was not crowded in the primate house at the National Zoo that day. She caught my eye through the low window from several feet away. Her large brown eyes held a calmness and sturdiness. This female orangutan was looking in at all of us. Today, she was people watching. She beckoned me over to where she was sitting. Her hands moved with purpose as I approached. I had learned some limited sign language working with kids at the rehab center. I walked up to the glass and crouched to face her. What is your name? She signed. I fingerspelled my name, 4 letters. She watched my hand intently and indicated that she wanted me to repeat the gestures. After 4 or 5 times, she spelled my name back to me and pointed to me, pleased that I had now been labeled and identified. She looked at me with expectation. I realized it was my turn. What is your name? I signed. She made the sign for flower or blossom. I dubbed her Rosie on the spot. She pointed toward my 2 toddlers who were wandering behind me. She asked if they were mine. I indicated yes, and she pointed toward each, making the signs, boy, girl. I nodded. She seemed satisfied and pointed behind herself. She indicated that she had a daughter who was napping, hidden from view in the habitat and not available for introduction. It was as if we were neighbors, becoming acquainted across the fence that separated our yards. Her huge eyes were almost golden and patient as she signed, what do you like to eat? I knew she was a vegetarian. I made the sign for fruit. That seemed right. She sat and thought for a moment and then told me with her hands that she was partial to oranges. I said, me too. We looked into each other's eyes, astounded by the connection, in wonder of our sameness through the thickened glass and past a sea of difference. She appeared to hear something behind her in the habitat. She rose while maintaining eye contact. Then she held up her hand in farewell while still gazing into my eyes. We shared the planet together for 3 breaths. She ambled away back into her habitat. I watched her wide back recede into the tree-filled tableau. Across so much disparity of experience, through a partition and the chasm of evolution, we had found common ground. We both like oranges. Thank you. The rest of what I'm going to read tonight, well, they're primarily, I've been writing a lot of poems about family and problems in families, good things in families. And I've also been experimenting with writing in a voice other than my own. The voice of my mother, the voice of my father, the voice of my grandchildren, the voice of my dog. And this is a prose poem. I'm also attempting to, I've got so many stories from my life that are important to me. And if I can get them on paper, then I'm going to be able to share them, with all of you, of course, but with my family, and hopefully build some kind of a legacy from the legacy that has been given to me. And so this is a prose poem, and it starts in my voice, but then it is primarily in my mother's voice, and it is called Hands. I asked my mother once, after my father had died, what her favorite thing about him had been. She sat and thought for a long moment. I watched the muscles of her face move as she considered the question. I knew her face. I could discern even shadows of emotion as she shifted expressions. She at first looked thoughtful, then wistful, and finally a look of satisfaction settled in her gaze. His hands, she said gently. I waited for her to say more, but her declaration had carried her inside of herself for a moment. Finally, she spoke. After the cancer and the mastectomy, the nurse had to give us detailed care instructions for the wound where my breast had been removed. There was a small tube sutured into the incision that extended out almost an inch. The nurse called it a drain. All of this had to be cleaned and rebandaged each day. It was not something I could do alone. Your father listened carefully to all of the instructions and watched the nurse dress the site with the gauze and bandages. I was not able to make myself even look down to where my breast had been as she worked. I just looked at your father. Then we drove home. That night, it was time to clean and redress the incision and drain. Your father didn't say anything. He just set out the bandages and gauze and other supplies on a TV table that he had placed next to the high back chair he had put near our bed. He led me to the chair and helped me sit down. He sat directly in front of me on a lower chair that positioned his face in front of my chest. I remember his hands, so large and rough from the garden, gently and almost delicately unbuttoning the front of my nightgown and removing the dressing from my chest. I would not look down. I felt the air where my breast should be. Your father's expression never changed as he worked. It was the same look he had on his face when he put finishing touches on one of his paintings. I focused on looking at his hands. I remember being so frightened that he would pull back or be disgusted by my hollow chest with a tube protruding. I can talk about it now. His face was only inches from my deformity. His hands worked gently but firmly. Feeling his hands on me reassured me, I think. I imagined him painting something beautiful. I always loved his hands. Thank you. Okay, I think all of us, if we've been on the planet long enough, have had people that we love, friends, family, who have had problems with addiction, alcoholism, mental illness. And this is a poem about some of the dangers of going through that process from the standpoint of someone who is watching someone they love deal with it. This is blank verse, so it's iambic pentameter, but unrhymed. And it's called The Danger in the Diagnosis. Turned into a monster by naming it, repeating the shape of it on the tongue, leaves residual contamination. Diagnosis, not a destination, just a map for the journey through it all. She creates her own goblins through friction, categorization that shackles her. These structures must be abandoned. A name does not define her. It points to a path, points to a way forward out of a pit. I want to strip her of the names, remove the labels, plant her like a new seedling, pruned of all the hard experiences. But that is not my place. She must herself fight past the naming. Only she can find the place where she can be newly rooted. And then the monsters will weaken and die when she strips them of their monikers, when she leaves the behavior the names predict, makes fresh choices, chases better outcomes. She comes from heroes, from generations that defied definition, ragged hands, found new lands, new choices, and a new home. I want her to find new destinations, to weave through the complex machinations of recovery like an immigrant moving past the desk at Ellis Island with a fresh new name and a brand new start. Thank you. So like I said, most of the rest of these are about family. And this next one is about my grandson, Tyler, who came, my daughter's oldest son, who came to live with me about a year and a half ago when he was 15 going on 16. He's now 17 going on 50. Basically what I've got is a really, really crappy roommate, but I love him very much. And this poem is about the process that we are going through together. And it's called Lists. I learned from my father that a good man leaves behind unfinished lists. Milk, cookies, ice cream, fruit, buy graph paper. My lists have changed since you came to live with me. They will change again. You are shifting daily in the way that young things do. I had forgotten the speed of transformation. I have been focused on my own entropy. Look at me raising a colt again. Look at you learning to jump fences. Look at us both adjusting our pace so that we can walk together. Cereal, he likes the sweet ones. Rice, pick him up after tutoring, 3 p.m. Mexican style cheese, pay the high school woodshop fee, $30. Your abrupt residence here is startling to me. I expected quiet years toward an inevitable end. Instead, I have a roommate, a gangling puppy in blue jeans and a hoodie, feet and hands too large, a voice deepening and no longer crackling. I make my inventories so that we will both have structure and order to our unexpected days together. You never write anything down. Youth believes that if it is truly important, it will be remembered. Age knows that words on paper are real, a promise. I will catalog what we both will need. I will keep writing it all down. You too will begin to compose. Together we will cross off the items, marking the progression of this parade from page to life. Thank you. Okay, this one is not new. It's a little older, but it is about family. My youngest of 8 grandchildren, Evelyn, we call her Evie, is 6 years old now. And I wrote this because yes, she's the youngest and she's a girl and she's my favorite, but we don't tell anybody that, except I just told everybody that. When she was 2 years old, I wrote Blue because she got the bluest eyes you've ever seen. So blue, my blue is not like your blue. You may be moved by a sky or an ocean. I reside in the azure stare of a small blonde monarch. 20 pounds, smaller than a bag of groceries, feet planted firmly in response to a frame that still wavers, gamballing into instant mood shifts, ruler of all she surveys, nimble fingers in sticky explorations to distinguish the world from self. So anxious, this blue, to make all new things become old and familiar, from discovery to understanding in an instant. The dog becomes her steed, a reluctant gallop from beneath her spell, joy in creating, satisfaction in destruction. Each day, a mountainous fraction of a lifetime. Always the little sister, delighted conquest without regard for consequences. Be ready, there may be blood. Thank you. Okay. Another grandchild poem. Spring is just about here. And some of you may have done what I did when I was a kid and what my grandchildren do now, which is we sled down the hills in the wintertime, but we also sled down the hills in the summertime when the grass becomes very dry and we get out there. And I wrote this about my grandkids, and it's called Cardboard Sleds. I watched the children turn our summer hill into winter again. They ride their cardboard boxes down our mound of sun-scorched grass. I sit in my chair on the patio and swallow their joy. The wonder in grass as snow and a sleigh ride in shorts and a t-shirt. The incongruity makes me smile and elicits peeling giggles from these young souls. Silly hill, who knew you could wear so many different coats, sliding through seasons and staying true to your childish purpose? Slippery grass shining in the sun like the crystals of a frosty morning. The children swerve down the elevation with abandon. The climb back up is easier without the snow. Legs languid in the heat, climbing the incline again and again, turning our slope into a sweaty mountain. With each descending cascade, the grass surrenders more dust. As twilight approaches, I finally call in the tumbling herd. Thank you. Okay. And I think I've still got a little bit of time, so I'm going to read one last one here. And this one is kind of a good summary because it sort of describes my purpose behind all of this writing. And really, you know, what I'm trying to achieve as a poet and as a person and as a patriarch in a family. And again, it's so much of poetry is communication, and communication is so often about legacy and storytelling. And so I've written half full. My dad said that when he was gone, he wanted to leave a hole. He is gone. His wish was granted, and there is a hole. Now I fill that hole with words. Every few days I drop some in and watch them descend into the pile. Nouns seem to weigh more, and they sink down past the surface layer, displacing verbs and bumping aside adjectives. The hole is recently filled with water. Perhaps there is a subterranean spring or runoff from the spring rains. No matter, words can float, bob on the surface, bounce into one another, creating patterns in the water. Sometimes they submerge from their own weight and leave only a small peak above the waterline, like an iceberg, hiding their true volume under the rippling surface. Some words sit atop others and become swollen from the moisture. It would be trite to imagine that some of that moisture could be tears or whiskey. That word pile has already been written. I try to do more than just stack the words. If I did, of course, it could fall. That is physics. But the art of dropping prepositions from above, hoping they land where intended, and then rebuilding when they do not, that is an art and a meditation. I imagine my father experiencing the hole he has left, slowly filling with my words. I hope that he is feeling comfortably full. Thank you very much, everybody.
Absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Rick.
Wonderful,
How
Rick.
great was that?
It was super.
Oh,
There
that
you
was
go.
fabulous.
Just
Great,
beautiful.
great job. Great job. All right. Yeah, whoever just said, Audrey said they can listen to you all day. Absolutely, absolutely. All right, we're going to move on now to our next reader, our wonderful Nassau County Poet Laureate. I will again say we have some people that came in since I gave my initial instructions. If you do not want to read in the open mic, please put it in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to assume that you will, and I will call on you, and then we will expect you to read something. So without any further ado, our Nassau County Poet Laureate, Evelyn Kandel.
Well, because I never seem to be able to understand how to do the chat, I just want to say to Rick, pure pleasure listening to you. And I'm so sorry that I let you go first. Enough said. Okay. Okay. I've been kind of, why is my thing in the face? Well, whatever. I've been kind of going through old poems. I found it a little bit too difficult to write during the pandemic and so much of the bad news hitting. So I kind of reached back, and there's a couple that are new. The first one is Snowstorm. I thought this would be good to start in case the weather, what a beautiful day today. It was so warm, so wonderful. And with the way it's been going, I could go to sleep and tomorrow we'd had a snowstorm. So woke this morning to a world of snow, billows of cotton blowing in cold air, mounds grow high, the day darkens. Despite wild winds, quiet reigns. At the end of day is a wonderland, our neighborhood transformed. A shovel leans against a railing. Maybe the snow will remove itself. And this is one of my weird flights of imagination. Borrowing ideas. And a little, I don't even remember now exactly where this quote came from, but it takes a tiny nibble from time to time. It's important to search for ideas wherever you can, putting them in a nutshell to use for later. Seeing a fly on the counter makes me think it would be good to focus on this uninvited guest, licking its feet in a truly horrifying way. It's hard to put together a poem about such an insignificant event, especially since this is a giveaway day, a nothing's happening day. Air so damp it makes me feel like carrying a towel to go outside. Drooping back to cool off and sit in the dark, I can't seem to conjure up anything that would tie together the poet's quote about tiny nibbles to the pronoun with a small appetite. Perhaps it is the fly stomping on the counter who takes tiny nibbles with its tiny mouth, who can be the subject of my poem and the meaning of the poet's line, or perhaps not. Okay. I did quite a bit of traveling when I was quite young. I joined the Marines at 18 and spent time in Washington, D.C., and then out to the West Coast, where, of course, I had never been. And so I saw many sights that were new. One I named Velvet Mountains. Velvet mountains upon the horizon rise roundly like a voluptuous woman, encased in a green velvet gown, worn smooth with time. But is it fair to compare them to one person? They are too overall for that. Someone laid them down carefully so he could stroke them with a gigantic hand. Finding them soft, placed his cheek upon them. I wish I could do the same. But when I stand on the velvet mountain, it becomes just grass, not velvet at all. This one, I don't know, it seems as I get older, I seem to talk to mirrors and windows a lot. I don't know what it means. I'm sure it means I'm losing my mind, but anyway, here's my poem. Window. When I look out the window, what am I doing? Hoping I'm being made safe and secure by the power of the window? Why not shut the window, block it out, stay away from it? But hold on. It draws you in like a magician waving a wand. The window does that. It is an unplugged TV screen, glass surface reflecting my face. When night falls darkly, looking in, I look out. The window makes a mystery of glass usually seen through. Suddenly, I am framed on it, confusing its purpose. It is somewhere between not inside, not outside, something completely unseen, the window. All right, this is one of my dark poems. I really write a lot of them, but I'm trying not to read them all at once. Night. Night has a way of making things worse, like silences that stop speech. Dark presses a finger against its lips. There is no way to call for help. On a lonely road to somewhere, night comes down quick and harsh. Fog covers the winding yellow line, muffling the sound of turning tires. And I wish for one helpful voice to listen to my troubles. Where is the light whose countenance is smiling, inviting an easy exchange, begins a song to bounce off car windows and fill with sounds to banish stillness. Let the journey be away from dark sadness. Let all the lights be green, with call boxes at every corner marked for help. Stop here. And this is a poem written during the pandemic. Being there. There, where? Somewhere. A secret place deep inside where loud silences dwell, where all is calm, no crawly doubts or wondering about what about and what about. A place where time sits outside the clock on the church steeple with hands that do not move at all. A place time sets for meditation, for moving away from troubling thoughts, for daydreaming about a long ago that lives in distant memories, that never was a perfect happy place. Being there. Okay, I write about trees a lot. I'm really not sure. My gardening ability is pathetic, but I love trees. And I go out to the VA Center for many things in Northport. So I go on Northern State, and I don't go in Northern State. I go on the back roads. And so you see a lot of trees there. And what about trees? How many poems have been written about trees? 1,000? 100,000? But not about these trees. These are New York trees. These are Nassau County on Long Island trees. They are assertive trees that reach out across the road over your head, greet one another as you drive past them, and I love that. When driving for an appointment that somehow I'm late for, it doesn't bother me. I don't rush because trees are so entertaining. They rustle They shake in the breeze. They drop stuff that make you sneeze. Sometimes they frighten you. Sometimes they please. Doesn't matter what they do. I just love trees. And those are first of my list. And then I'm going to read some poems from my books. I amazingly have published 5 books. And the first is called Conversation on Primal Beach, which is our local beach here in Glen Cove. And one day my adult daughter came to visit. And so it was a conversation on Primal Beach. A precious gift, a day with my daughter, to walk along the beach, sneakers leaving desire footprints in the wet sand. Conversation of stones washed by foamy edges of bay water. Restless remarks about things only beach spirits know. We stand and listen. Our conversation is easy. Sometimes we stop to hug. Our connection remains deep despite restless tides. We meet our blurred prints on the way home. Oh, I'm glad somebody else likes trees. Thank you, Karen. And from my book, which was called Tracing My Shadow, this is a prose poem, linear poem leading to love. There are times when writing is a pleasant thing to do, when white pages beckon, words fall from the typewriter in small black dancing forms, aligning themselves into stanzas, commas jumping into place like well-rehearsed acrobats who can lean or climb upon the other to form a human pyramid so thrilling and complex. The audience rises together, their hands applauding, throats shouting bravos, even encores, begging for more of this sterling feat of skill. So the act of writing is much the same, although the writer is the acrobat and the audience watching as words form into sentiments of worth, a poem to transport both the poet and the listener to the place where words are fashioned magically, with clicks of fingers, weaving mystical mansions under yellow skies, bright blue pathways that wander through purple hedges, silver trees, where lost dreams are waiting and love is found strong, vibrant, raw to the touch and taste, incredibly original and new. Let's see, wait a minute. I thought I was all ready, and when I came down expecting to have all my pages sitting here waiting for me, I couldn't find them. So I go into my normal, anxiety attack. Oh my God, I get home. So anyway, this is from my book, which was 30 poems in 30 days, which is something that James does. I can never pronounce. I know Judy will know what it is. Nay, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, you write in April, 30 poems in 30 days, a poem a day. Okay. What I wrote were 30 poems, and each poem was written to a different piece of music. So this one is the orchestral suite number 2 in B minor by John Sebastian Bach. Daily quick step. Our alarms loud ringing. It's 8 o'clock. Where did I put that other sock? Dear me, things to do. I must be going into the shower. Hot water's flowing. Quick, coffee's brewed and in the cup. What time is it? Okay, dressed and up. Where am I going at 9 o'clock? Return to the cleaners, a stained frock, something else. Oh, almost forgot. Oh my, now I know. A 1 mile run, then to the Y to stretch my muscles, strong and taut. You know, I really like the tights I bought. Then on to do a bit of shopping. Return books that are due. I'm hopping. Back home and a quick dust blowing. That will do it. Only what's showing. A bit of lunch and to a meeting. Is it my turn to plan the seating? Boring speaker. I'm almost dozing. What's for dinner? Maybe frozen. 5 o'clock. Drive home pretty frazzled. Put on new makeup so Bob's dazzled. Food in the microwave. Drinks on the tray. Take a deep breath. Another quick step day. And so that was from my 30 days and 30 poems. Between the book called Beyond Stillness and Motion, which fortunately I found the poem printed out because I can't find the book. And here it is. And someone has put this to music. And there is a group, there were actually groups all over the United States, but on Long Island, there's a fundraising group that raises the money to send veterans, older veterans like moi, to Washington for the day. They fly you down. They take care of everything. You have a guardian angel with you and a wheelchair with you all day if you want it. And you go down, you visit the monuments, they feed you and the whole thing. So after I'd gone, which was in 2019, I met someone who was on the board that does the planning and the fundraising. And he said he wanted to interview me. I couldn't figure out why they wanted to interview me. I mean, I joined the Marines when I was 18 years old. The Korean War was being fought. I was too stupid to really understand what war did. And I was also very pretty. I was tall and thin, and they went, we want you. So I had a lot of pictures taken, did a lot of, trying to get people to join the Marines. I was on a poster on the whole 8 yards. So I said, yeah, but why does he want it? I'm not doing anything now. I'm a school teacher. But anyway, he interviewed me and he said, oh, and I understand you write poetry. I said, yes. He said, can you read one? So this is the poem I wrote. And for this year's fundraiser, it has been put to music. Ta-da! And so I'm famous. Okay. Listen to the wind. It is whispering secrets you need to hear. It has been here forever, weaving through branches of trees, lifting wings of vultures as well as songbirds. It is as eternal as anything you will encounter. So listen. There are bitter winds around your corner, bitter as some memories, to remind you of the power behind these gales as winds screech through ice caps you will never feel against your face. Listen to the wind when you hear it call. It is telling you things you need to know, leading you to adventures written in the stars or floating in the deepest sea. Listen, can you hear crying, the crying of a lost child from a place you hardly know the name of? Can this gently moving air transport your spirit to that place? Let you take his hand and rescue him? Listen to the wind when it speaks your name. It will be time to leave wherever you are. Let the currents lift you to that windless place you only know in dreams. And, oh, okay. I found the first one of, never mind. I won't read that. Okay, and now from my new book, a little drum roll, please. It is called, whoops, why can't you see it? All right, forget it. This is called Let There Be Clouds, and it's consisting of, again, 30 poems, but 30 photographs, which I took myself. And I will read you. I thought I had picked these out. The first poem in the book is called Cloud Cover, and the photograph is a very kind of dark sky with clouds, all not those pretty fluffy ones, seeming like it's covering the sky completely. Clouds have gathered before the sun unfurls her light, before birds' pillow talk is heard, joyfully greeting this day. Clouds have gathered so tightly do they form, no blue shows anywhere. The pale dawn lies hidden, moving softly, overlapping, merging, covering the rising sun, blocking any golden light, trying to warm this first day of April. Only this cloudy day appears. And indigo clouds, strange and extreme silentness, by Samuel Coleridge. I stand in my darkened kitchen, watching days end, with mass clouds in final color display. One lighted window in the house down the hill catches my eye. Its outlined form stands silhouetted against the sunset's supreme glory. A strange illusion. The sky appears to shine through this opening in the house wall. Long Island Sound is hidden beyond the house, yet I imagine the brilliance of sunset reflected on the water. Translucent streaks of orange inflame the darkening blue, send indigo clouds rising to join night's velvet blackness. Bare trees raise branches in quiet supplication to this celestial display. Now, when the world goes on somewhere else, I praise this gift in silence. And Tony, where am I? Do I have time for a couple more or not?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. This is one. Since the title of the book is Let There Be Clouds, this day came and I wrote this poem, Eating Humble Pie. How arrogant to think, because my plan called for writing about clouds each day, they would always be available, waiting for my pen to capture their display. The massive cumulonimbus clouds, like white mountains, would please on demand, or perhaps wispy stratus would be brushing the tops of trees. I would carefully note the tiny dabs of cirrocumulus bunched together, or the bands of horizontal, I can't read my own poem, altostratus, looking like a giant floating feather. To my chagrin, today has come cloudness, none except some so faint they're hardly seen. I must admit, trying to predict is foolish. I've been humbled. You know what I mean? And there's one particular one that I like. Stop sign. Even the street signs say, wait, there is something up ahead you need to see. A red light demands you stop. I'm happy to do so when I see a sky of deepest blue, startling white, asking for my attention. Just beyond the wires and streetlight, clouds sail past my view with such a majestic manner. I bless the traffic light for time to marvel at such a stunning display. And I think I will close with Easter on the beach. Spread across the sky like a billboard on a building in Times Square, a giant advertisement for a never-before event, spectacular, brashly announcing, now appearing for today only. Greco-Roman white billowing clouds filling the painted sky blue backdrop, masses upon masses climbing upward from horizon to top of domed space. We watched from the park by the water as we celebrated this holy day, thinking, you've got to love how he does things. God really does work in miraculous ways. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you,
Very
thank you.
nice.
All right, let's hear it for Evelyn. Let's hear it for Rick. Everybody can unmute yourselves. And
Yes.
give them a good round.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Woo-hoo. Absolutely wonderful.
Awesome.
I
Great
love
readings,
your
great
background.
readings.
Your background, Evelyn, is fantastic with the slight ring on the horizon line.
No, I know. One of my students, he's probably going to read, and he's got grass and stuff. And I was looking, and so I decided to be celestial.
Well, it certainly
It's a
took
cloud.
the near and a far to a new level.
Yes.
Okay,
Good
so
one, Tony.
have wonderful, wonderful readings tonight. Thank you. And so now we'll move to our open mic again. Everybody gets to read one poem. Please do not make it epic length. Or if you're doing haiku, 2 or 3 haiku. If you do not want to read, please put it in the chat. So what I'll do is I'll call out a name, and then I will tell the person who is on deck. For those of you who are like one of my daughters are not into sportsing, that means that you're the next person up so that you can be prepared. Okay, so we're going to start with Christine, you're up, and Audrey, you're on deck.
Okay. Your words, in memory of Stanley Kunitz, 1905 to 2006. Years ago, the ancient poet sent his poems out into the world where they were published, and they found me. One evening, I heard Stanley read from his books, and the language came alive in me. I could see his dead father, who had committed suicide in a public place while he was still a fetus. Once, as a child, he showed his mother a portrait he had found in the attic and who he did not know. I could feel the slap she gave him on his cheek as it turned red hot, and the sadness he felt when she took the sketch and tore it to pieces. One night, as a young boy, Stanley stole away to the roof and looking up to the sky said, "Look for me, Father. I'm the boy searching the starry sky, waiting for the world to end." I have learned that when you take pen to paper, get your words down. You can't rescind them, can't paint over them like whitewash on a canvas to be reused. I print my thoughts upon the page. When they are published, maybe someone will find them and use the words and language for their own. Not a theft of merchandise, but one of the highest compliments a writer can achieve.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Okay, we have Audrey is up, and Ann Cohn, you're on deck.
Okay. Fairy tales have a way of creeping into everything I do. If only If only the fairy godmother heard voices of soldiers in Mariupol screaming beneath missiles, standing stalwart in the land of nodding sunflowers, she would have rushed off to grant a few extra wishes after finishing with Cinderella's beribboned blue gown and orange pumpkin coach. If only she heard the silences of the dead babies, war-weary mothers, senseless loss, she'd leave the kingdom of princes and castles post-haste and point her potent wand accusingly at Vladimir and turn him into a hoarsely croaking frog. Isn't that what fairy godmothers are supposed to do? Isn't it? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful.
All right, so Anne, you're up, and Judy Turk, you're on deck.
All right, I'm keeping this real short, Tony, because you asked for a real short one. This is the St. Patrick's Day limerick, and I wrote this because I made the mistake of not making reservations for St. Patrick's Day. And this is what happened. When looking to dine in a pub for authentic St. Patty's Day grub, have your table reserved for corned beef that's deserved. Ravioli is something to snub.
Thank you very much, Anne. That's great. All right. So now we're going to have Judy up, and Doreen, you're on deck.
Okay. And Italiano works all the time.
Well, Patrick was a Roman slave.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Evelyn. So we're playing Poetry Roulette, and it just so happens that today is World Poetry Day. And so this kind of works for that. Luminosity. Lines of letters and spaces forming words spread and placed across a page to appeal to the eye, to appeal to the reader with shades of emotion, images, metaphors that hide behind messages that peek between sheets of stacked stanzas, shape, alliterate, assassinate, assassinate, in your face cliches, commonalities, sudden humdrum, mundane dark articles, particles, passive voice, defying, denying, defining, bare bulb illumination, secret shadows disguised as a surprise inside a poem. Thank you, TA. Good picture. Good number.
Hey, wonderful. Okay, so thank you, Judy. Very, as always, wonderful. Doreen, you're up, and Lila, you're on deck.
Thank you, Tony. So Rick, Evelyn, in case anybody ever forgets why we need poetry, you both give us that reason. Thank you. So this is an old poem for a new season called You Know Spring Is. Winter's inevitable reign ends once the planet rings around the rosy. No one falls down and picks a fight with the next season. Why cry over spilt snow, ice, frozen tundra? The faraway future waves a boot in my face, but now wildflower seeds need sprinkling. Cast sins into the flower beds, winter sins die hardest. Breathe in the sounds, listen to the air. The land readies itself to open. This is the season of renewal, and my spirit nudges against the hard shell of its winter prison. A clarion call, spring birds, was that a mourning dove I sang with yesterday? I hunger for the forgiveness of a solid spring morning. Sun rising, warming fields, pillows and office chairs, getting us ready to be our finest selves once again. This day, cold and windy, but so what? I take it as a reminder, the final representative of the recently past winter, now dead memories in my hand, and I ready myself, like plowing and tilling, planting, and reaping, everything in its own time, and this time, this season, finally, mine. Thank you.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Lila, you're up, and Karen Scott, you're on deck.
Hi, I came on tonight to hear Evelyn, and I've just been enthralled by all the poetry I've heard so far. This has been wonderful. Is this okay? Oh dear, the perfectionist plight, always trying to get things just right, raising the bar way above my head, meeting each challenge with joy and with dread. Can't accept praise without words of demur. Long-term therapy fails to bring relief or cure. No magic or muttered incantations of witches can stop me from ripping out imperfect stitches. Compound this with a bad case of procrastination. It's a miracle that any project will ever leave the station.
Hey, thank you very much. We've all been there. Thank you. All right. So Karen, you're up, and Marvin, you're on deck.
Okay, during the pandemic, I started learning Scottish Gaelic with Duolingo, and I have like a 250-day streak now. This poem is called Hami Dulik, which is Gaelic for I am sorry. I'm sorry you never got that motorcycle, the one I told you that you couldn't get until we had a child, that you were not going to leave me alone with no part of you to cherish. You snorted and said that was pretty heartless, that I just told you that you could wrap your motorcycle around a tree as long as I had a child of yours to love. Who knew you wouldn't see her 4th birthday? I'm sorry I never got to see you in a kilt. I do love men in kilts. I wish I could have seen you practicing maneuvers with a claymore or standing at attention in dress kilt and jacket. Treasures in your sporran. I'm sorry we never made it to Rhode Island, your birthplace, or meet the relatives living there, but you never got to take me for a walk on the beach at sunrise or gather quail hugs to share while we watch the waves advance and retreat. I'm sorry we never made it back to Baltimore to visit our old haunts, or to New Orleans, a city we both visited but did not get to explore together. I'm sorry you did not get to see our child grow up, to enjoy the proud parenting moments, to see the person she has become. I'm sorry that you're not here now, that we were denied the privilege of growing old together. Would we still be in love, or would we be living separate lives after amicably drifting apart? I'm sorry we never got to find out. Thank you.
Oh, wow. That's absolutely wonderful.
E-A-U-T-I-F-U-L-L.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Karen. Very, very, very moving. All right. Marvin, you're up, and Louisa, you're on deck. Marvin? Marvin, you have to unmute yourself, Marvin. We can't hear you, Marvin. Nope, not yet.
Okay.
There we
Here
go.
we go.
Gotcha. Now we
The
can hear you.
Cave of the Libido. In the gypsy caves of Sacramento, she worked her castanets to the stamping of our feet, our eyes locking on each other's lips. In the Sultan gardens, breathing in the fragrance, bathing in the Spanish sun. In the pool of lions, we splashed our joy onto each other and cooled our ardor on the tiles of the Alhambra. Looking across the courtyard, I saw she was in reach, just outside my dream. If only I could land her and ole my way through Granada. Stranded in my hotel room by order of one Dr. Lopez, and an ankle sprained, hitting the curb with a stupid step, the odor of ointment stifling my room, with no mas, senor, por un dia o dos, I hobbled out of my prison bed to take in the view, perhaps un poco for what I came, un poco de España. I saw more. She was in a room across the way, admiring her skin. Now I was viewing mas, now the Sierra Nevadas, and curving perfectamente of undulating flesh. Oh, blessed ankle, swell and throb and swell. Keep me here forever. Trip through Spain, begin and end right here. But no, suddenly no, I have to meet her. Ankle be damned, don't slow me down. Dulcinea, I come, but how? Even if I could hobble over and find a room, then what? What do I say? Could I borrow some salt? Or just call me Mr. Peeping Tom? Or just hurt my foot? Got some ice? Could I rest for a while? The couch will do, or the bed. Perhaps she's a tourist too. Perhaps Germany or Bulgaria. How do you say ice or salt or bed? Maybe I'm too short or not muscular enough. Or maybe, but who's there? Who's that? Where did he? Some George Clooney guy got her in his arms, and oh, the throbbing, oh, the pain, his joy, my throbbing, his joy, my pain. Lights out in a room, their room. Is that the sound of laughter and castanets?
Wonderful, Marvin. Thank you very, very
Wow,
much.
all right. Marvin,
Wow.
yes, that was a hot intro. Okay.
Okay,
I wanted to
Louisa.
say
Okay, Louisa, you're up.
hello, Tony and everyone.
Okay, good. And Robert, hang on,
Happy-
Robert Dean, you're on deck. Okay, Lisa, it's all yours.
Yes, happy World Poetry Day. All right. I wanted to thank all the great readers and all the poets today on World Poetry Day. And I so appreciated Audrey and Rick covering the war, which has been weighing on me, and I've been writing poems. So I'm just going to read 2 poems tonight about water, dedicated to Dylan Thomas. And anybody else who want to send some poems, Lydia Chiarelli is putting up a book on Dylan Thomas. This one is called Hot Seas. Hot seas, the sweat that pours from me when we make love. Salty, the tears I weep when you leave. Holy, the waters that pour. From every pore I am made pure. And the other is what is water, but a God, but a woman, who flows and surrenders, bends and endures like a river, gives life and renewal. Take a bath.
Oh, wonderful.
Thank you,
Wonderful.
Tony.
Thank you so
Oh.
much, Louisa. Okay, Robert Dean, you're up, and Lauren, you're on deck. Okay, find Robert. Find Robert. Where's there he is? No, Robert, you're up.
Should be okay. Should be okay now, right? All right. Forgot to unmute before I switch screens here. This is the most recent poem that I've had published. It came out in this month's McQueen's Quinterly. I think Rick, no, you're not in this one. I'm sorry. That was the previous one. Anyway, it's titled Any Little Sure Thing. And I think with the uncertainty that we've had for the past several years from now, including the war in Ukraine, that's why I chose to read this one now. A swallow flies backwards across the freeway, wings beating mightily for its small size, beak like a pygmy prow, parting the boreal wrath of the north wind with no apparent effect. Perhaps if it were larger, higher, like the nascent wedge of geese who, having lost all sense of season, are more fortunate in their January wrong way Corrigan journey, it might make progress instead of regress, instead of defining itself in terms of itself, instead of failure retrograding to its inevitable beginning. At the pond outside my psychologist's office building, geese walk like Christ on the water, having no inclination to unfurl wings aloft, to ascend, to abandon their ice sheet island. And for a moment, I, like Peter, feel the refrigerator magnet pull of miracle to get out and try my new balanced sneaker look. Maybe today I don't need to shrink. Maybe today I can head the right direction. Wind at my tail, a self-contained gaggle of warmth and understanding, orient my ferromagnetic soul along the lines of Gaia's flux and flow, find some racial memory of sunnier climes. In the parking lot, I eject the Doobie Brothers, street preachers reminding me they don't like what they think I see, power down my rubber-rimmed wings, scan the snow portent sky that has become my habitat. And then I feel it, a vibration, a vibe, coming up through the tires, the floor mat, my shoes, making its bird-footed way up the marrow of my legs, roosting in my solar plexus, the earth trembling. An embarrassment almost, as if the mother is ashamed of such miracles as my eyes have beheld, such loss of control over her domain. I glide out of my steel and plastic nest and flap my way into the shrink's office, not knowing if I have come to a beginning or an ending, not knowing if I've had any apparent effect, lent a hand in even the smallest of miracles, not knowing any little sure thing at all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Robert. Great job. Okay, and so we're going to have Lauren is up next, and Damon, you're on deck.
Okay,
you.
the poem I'd like to read is called Amen.
Just one second. Just hang on a second.
Sorry.
That's okay. No, we just have we're all good, and I'm going to replace the spotlight. There you go. Now we've got you on spotlight.
Oh, okay. All right. The poem I'd like to read is called Amen. I want to worship the quiet gods, the ones who blush before they speak and hesitate before they offer a compliment, because they're only too aware of how it will reveal their uncommon depth of feeling. I want to worship the tired gods, the ones coming off a 12-hour shift, who can't stand up on the bus and will go to bed still wearing their uniform. I want to worship the humble gods, the ones who are enraptured by the tiny and imperfect, a Muscovy duck's raw wattles, the pattern of brain coral, the dandelions, the ones who think that facial features are only enhanced by the presence of a port wine-stained birthmark. I want to worship the true gods, givers of water and repose, the ones who make sure the electric bill is in before the late fee and stops dinner from burning in the oven while you're busy giving the cat his medicine. Thank you.
Oh, that was wonderful. Thank you, Lauren.
E-A-T exclamation.
There you go. Really wonderful. Absolutely. Okay, Damon, you're up, and John Lang, you're on deck.
Hello, everyone. It's been a pleasure listening, hearing actually. For once, it's been nice. No suffering. No suffering is unnecessary.
Exclamation.
All of it is only enlightening. This is life. That is Agnes Martin from Writings. Momentum goes like this. It begins, it ends. It goes like this. Starts slow and easy. Then it gets harder, fast. It goes like this. It goes like this. A little stutter every now and again. Too self-conscious. That's when you know to slow down and move slow, slower, and stop. Then speed up, 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 down, down, down. It goes like this. Rock bottom. Ugh. Flop, flop, flop on someone else's couch. Ugh. Then back up, up, up. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Move fast again. A cup of coffee to blast off. Then tea, let it be. See? That's how you move. To the groove. Momentum ain't no thing. And stagnation, but a word. Find it tease it into you. Mom, pardon me, momentum, fix it up, curl the ends like that, send the straight parts off sailing like that. It's easy and smooth like that. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're
All
welcome.
right. So we're going to have John Lang up next, and Alice, you're on deck.
Okay.
I don't know about you folks. I'm kind of tired of the virus called vaccination. Things are not the same. Vaccination and quarantine spring to fame. Our threatened blood is racing. Try keeping up with contact tracing. We have sore arms galore. What else are needles for? Amorous folks upon checking learn social distance puts a crimp in necking. Hail Johnson & Johnson, Moderna and Pfizer, not to mention hand sanitizer and the mask customizer. A golden mask for a narcissist, a sandpaper one for the masochist, a bulletproof mask for the homicidal, and one virus-friendly for the suicidal. We do not know how this will end, but to the plague, this message we will send. Dear virus, keep this in mind. If you kill off humans, you'll be soon behind.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, so Alice, you're up, and Itarinian, you're on deck. And let me remove that. And
Hi, can you hear me?
sure can.
Okay. Am I on? Should I read now?
Yep.
Okay.
You're up.
All righty. So I wrote this over the weekend. It's kind of been brewing, so it might be changing after I hear some of your reactions a little bit. How lucky. After halcyon days, snow fell in wet, soft clusters. The mythical bird's ability to calm the seas came and went. Winds grasped nests and like lightning bolts to the ground. Along with them went heavy, ice-coated, rotted branches. Ice sheets sent small animals to scurry into secluded spaces. Foxes, gray squirrels, mice, and raccoons retired to their dens. They ventured, foraging food or to defend their brood. Woe befalls the slow, less sharp-eyed, and older creatures. Mere mortals, as possible, retreated indoors doing what they do. One calm day, I sallied forth, face mask on, glasses fogged, and slipped on the ice. My left side bruised to the bone, followed by time peering inside and out. After January's cold moon, higher temperatures dared to climb. Clouded skies lured snow shovel folks who uncovered what lay below, ice diamonds dangling off branches and shimmered seductively in the sun's light. By noon, the elegant tree tiaras were stowed away. Across the bay, ice shifted, cracked, and sometimes moaned. By February, fog, ever the elusive prestidigitator, worked a soft white cloak. Did the groundhog notice its shadow? I don't recall nor care. In stealth, under the hungry moon, eagles and owls hunt. After hiding in a blur, sharp-shinned hawks appeared and swoosh. In a flurry of fur and feathered, they disappeared. Woe to the innocent, weak, and enfeebled. Far away, an oligarch readies his troops. Later, they will meet with resistance. It is not over, because beneath the frozen ground, roots harbor, the seeds prepare. Fall grows lilsome, subtle flurries, come and go, surrounding all in slightly hushed tones. Around this time, snow again dusted the ides of March, and the snow-crust moon. Before the equinox, warm patches of brown earth rouse the worms and snowdrop flowers. Purple crocuses perform their brief, delicate dance to the delight of dear Persephone. Early, I heard the birds return and smelled some differences moving through the air. I go forth into the nature preserve, this one sequestered from road traffic. Step with care in lesser mummy-style clothes, wool socks, and sturdy cleated boots. Shifted light streams over the bay through a colander of cumulus clouds. It's good being outside with no need to hunt nor forage. A hip ache reminds me of the great sky hawk spared me. Venturing into the wander, how grateful it is knowing that the fog banks lay only outside. 3 months since I slipped on a hidden patch of ice, and much happened. About 90 nights of watching the evening news and hopefully looking towards the moon. Parting the night's dreams throughout adventure capers, and again, concern returns. Would the sun rise again? Or the virus's sour fruit wither with the war be abated? Neither a scientist nor a politician. These questions are ones this poet can't answer. Waiting like a seed or a stalk to sprout, and for my hip to heal, looking towards April, when the moss brightens and the ground grows greener, thinking lucky I will be to walk into spring, and humble enough not to dare fate. I believe in the seasons, they will revolve, and worry how close we stand to the precipice. Can humanity preserve while cooler minds prevail and freeze the blood cries of tyrants? Thank you.
All right. Adorendon, you're up. Ro, you're on deck.
Hi, everyone. Great reading so far. Here goes the human condition. A cloud of despair hovers as a mother grips her frightened child. The smell of hope dissipates and is replaced with the burning fumes of danger, anger, and fear. She can hear it too. Wars, no longer rumors. His side, her side, their side.
You, period.
There is still no peace. Families fleeing, looking for solace. The chaos is real, it's a human thing. The world looks in horror and jumps in to help. The hurting, the needy, the desperate. Help them all. Pregnant women, women with children, pets and their owners.
Period.
Help them all. The media in shock and can't resist the revelation of prejudices that still persist. It rears its predictable head and commits verbal sin. These are Europeans, hardworking people, one reporter blurts out. These are not people in third world countries, another retorts. This is a civilized nation. This isn't Africa, Iran, or Iraq. These are not refugees from Syria. These are refugees from Ukraine. They're Christian, they're white. They're very similar to us. I couldn't believe my ears, but my ears believed what they heard and my eyes what they saw. South Asians treated like villains, not allowed to board the buses or ride the trains to dignity and safety. African foreign students, emotional orphans trying to flee, but facing discrimination by local authorities at the border between conflict and peace. 2 wars, one visible, the other completely ignored. Help them all. The oppressed practicing oppression, hurts people hurting people, divided only to fall into the jaws of the hypocrisy of saving lives. Whose lives? Some lives. My heart goes out to all the victims, citizens or not, Black or not. We should help them all. After all, aren't we in this thing called life together? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
AVO, exclamation.
Great point.
Exclamation.
Thank you very much. All right, Ro, you're up, and TA, you're on deck. Hang on. Where's Ro? And spotlight. There you go. Ro, we don't hear you, so.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Sorry. Thank you. Oh, now I lost the poem. Hold on, please. Sorry.
That's okay.
5:45 a.m., March 20, 2022. At my feet, morning newspaper lying in the driveway. Up in the unsettled sky, veiled full moon, jailed, helpless, peeking through floating, phantom-like, puffy clouds. Noisy birds, their incessant tweets, my 4 a.m. alarm. I don't tweet. On Twitter, friends do, some endlessly. Patrons at the gym chatter away to glory. God only knows what deep thoughts pass between them at 5 a.m. Earplugs into my ears, my conversation with God, the most useful chat begins. Solutions to my little problems emerge, as does a plot idea, a new twist or turn in story I'm writing. People's chatter distracts, but birds, that's a different story. In their tweets lies God's glory. Thank you.
Thank you, Ro. Thank you very much.
And happy
Perfect.
spring. It starts today, I think, officially.
Yeah. All right. TA, you're up, and Jennifer, you're on deck.
Spring. Exclamation. Exclamation.
Tia, you're muted.
I think I should be okay now.
Now you're perfect. Now you're perfect.
All right. Okay, let's see. We can find the poem now, right? Okay, it's called Doomed Warrior. The rumblings persist. They won't cease. Within me, turmoil reigns supreme. Quietude, a long-lost friend. Contending with myriad siren songs, whipped to and fro by inner passion, like driftwood on the stormy sea of feeling. My anchor's line, stretched, yet holding fast, when turbulent current threatens to dash me helplessly against the rocks of human ego. The tide rolls on. So futile seems my struggle against emotion's tide. My soul yields to the motion, though I'm often crushed by the breaking waves. Bobbing, weaving, twisting, turning up life's murky stream, the inevitable struggle of the salmon against the cascading falls. This battle, though hopelessly lost, wages to my last weary gasp. My fight may well be folly, yet conviction is my sword, inner truth my shield. As I lie down, no longer able nor willing to bear arms, scabbed and sore, wounds no longer bleeding, my drained blood will have been of deepest red. Thank you.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. All right. Jennifer, you're up, and Daryl, you're on deck. Jennifer Hogue.
She is not reading tonight.
Okay, thank you. Daryl, you're up. And I think that does it. I don't think there's anybody else. If anybody else, if I missed you, throw it in the chat because I think I got everybody. But Daryl, you're up.
Okay. I'm reading this. I read it before, but I don't have access to my other poems right now. So one of my favorite poets is Jim Morrison. I never really talk about my poems, but I will for him. So the Throne of the 27th Club, Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, the kings and queen of a generation, rock and roll gods and goddess, lost in illusion, drugs and confusion, seeking a way to adapt to the fame, kill the pain. The music was where they broke free, but the glitter and glamour have a price that is not free. 1970 to 1971 ushers the goodbye of these favorite ones. Landmark Motor Hotel Hollywood. She sang her last song with a needle in her arm. A Paris nightclub, he is said to have overdosed from heroin alcohol in his apartment bathtub. He was found entering the end. Samarkand Hotel, Notting Hill, London. Asphyxia, barbiturate intoxication, they say. Let the conspiracies continue. 2 and 7 equals 9. 27, a number that equals 9. Where were their 9 lives? Have they been reincarnated among us, finding new music? A freedom they were never granted in the entrapment of fame and addiction before.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, I don't think I missed anybody. So I will end with this one. Not by me, but Ogden Nash, a word to husbands. To keep your marriage brimming with love in the loving cup, whenever you're wrong, admit it. Whenever you're right, shut up.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you very much for all
I
your.
want to thank everybody. I want to thank Rick and Evelyn. You guys were amazing.
Yeah.
Great open mic. And we're back up again April 4th. So we look forward to seeing you all then. Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you, Tony. I'm sorry I was unsubscribed because something wrong with my email. I had a couple problems with that. Thank you sorry.
Bye all.
No problem. Take
Bye,
care.
guys.
everybody.
Have a good night.
Thank you, John and Lila.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys. Thank
Bye,
you for the reading, guys.
everybody.